There is a special kind of loneliness that comes from lying next to someone you don't love. Not hate, not anger, just nothing. His hand on my shoulder feels like a stranger's. His goodnight kiss is a habit like brushing my teeth. And every morning when I open my eyes and see him sleeping beside me, I feel a quiet ache. Not because I miss him, but because I miss feeling anything at all. My name is Delilah, and I have been married to my husband Andrew for 11 years. I don't love him. I never did. Let me be honest with you, because I haven't been honest with anyone in a very long time. I married Andrew because my family was drowning. My father had lost his business. My mother was sick. We were about to lose our home. And Andrew, who was my college boyfriend at the time, came from old money. His family owned half the town. He proposed 6 months after graduation. And I said yes. Not because I wanted to be his wife, because I needed to save my family. Andrew knew my situation. He knew I wasn't head over heels. But he didn't care. He wanted a pretty wife who would smile at his dinner parties, raise his children, and never embarrass him. I gave him that. For 11 years I played the role. I threw parties. I organized charity events. I wore the dresses he bought me. I laughed at his father's racist jokes. I held Andrew's hand during board meetings. I was the perfect wife. But inside I was hollow. The only thing that kept me going were my children. 2 beautiful daughters. They are the reason I stayed, the reason I smiled, the reason I didn't walk out the door 1,000 times. Andrew is not a bad man. He never hit me. He never yelled. He provided everything. A beautiful house, private schools, vacations in Europe. But he never saw me. Not really. He saw the wife he wanted, not the woman I was. I tried to love him. In the beginning, I tried. I cooked his favorite meals. I surprised him with weekend getaways. I tried to start conversations that weren't about money or status, but he would just look at his phone and say, "That's nice, honey." Eventually, I stopped trying. And somewhere around year 7, I stopped feeling guilty too. We became roommates. Polite roommates who shared a bed and a last name. He had his life. I had mine. As long as I didn't embarrass him, he didn't ask questions. But here's the twist. The thing that changed everything. I recently found out that Andrew has been hiding something from me. Something big. And he has no idea that I know. It started 3 months ago. Andrew told me he had to go on a business trip to Chicago. I didn't think much of it. He traveled often. I was used to eating dinner alone. But this time, something felt different. He packed new clothes. He wore cologne, the expensive kind he only used for special occasions. And when he kissed me goodbye, he seemed nervous. I didn't follow him. I didn't hire a detective. I just noticed. While he was gone, I decided to clean out the home office. He never let me in there. But he was away, so I thought, why not? I wasn't looking for secrets. I just wanted to organize the piles of paper. Then I found the lockbox. It was hidden under a loose floorboard behind the filing cabinet. Small. Black. Digital lock. I tried his birthday. Nothing. Our anniversary. Nothing. Then I tried the date we closed on our first house, his proudest achievement. It opened. Inside there was a stack of documents, bank statements, property deeds, and a folder labeled Sophia. Sophia. I opened the folder, and my heart, the one I thought had turned to stone, started pounding. There were photographs of a woman, young, beautiful, dark hair. She was standing in front of houses, our properties, I realized. Then there were letters, handwritten. My dearest Andrew, I can't wait until we can finally be together. Every day without you feels like a year. My hands were shaking, not from jealousy, not from pain, but from something else, relief. Because for 11 years I had been carrying the guilt of not loving my husband. I thought I was the broken one. the cold one, the failure. But Andrew had been lying too. He had been building a whole other life with someone else, probably for years. And he didn't know that I had just found everything. I put the lockbox back exactly where I found it, closed the office door, sat down at the kitchen table, and I smiled. Because suddenly, the game had changed. I didn't love him. He didn't love me. But he thought he was the only one with a secret. He had no idea that I had already been planning my exit for months, quietly, carefully. And now, he had just handed me the weapon I needed. The only difference between us? I wasn't going to get caught. The week after Andrew returned from Chicago, I watched him differently, not as a husband, as an opponent. He came home with a smile, brought me flowers, something he never did. "Just thinking of you," he said. I kissed his cheek, thanked him, and inside I was taking notes. He was love-bombing me. That's what they call it, acting extra affectionate to cover up guilt. I had read about it in a psychology book. Now I was living it. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I didn't ask about Sophia. Instead, I played the same game I had been playing for 11 years. The perfect wife. The oblivious partner. But at night, when he fell asleep, I did my research. I started with the bank statements I had photographed from the lockbox. Andrew had been transferring money to a separate account for over 3 years. Thousands of dollars every month. Enough to buy a second home. Enough to support another woman. I cross-referenced the dates with his business trips. Every time he went to Chicago, a transfer followed. Every time he claimed a late meeting, there was a credit card charge for a fancy restaurant, for 2. He wasn't just having an affair. He was building a parallel life. And the worst part? He was using our joint funds to do it. The money we had saved for our daughter's education. The money from the sale of his father's company. Half of that was mine by law. And he was spending it on another woman. I hired a private investigator. I told him to be discreet. He followed Andrew for 2 months, took photos, recorded conversations. Found out that Sophia was not just a mistress. She was a real estate agent who had helped Andrew buy a condo downtown, in her name. He had been living there 2 or 3 nights a week, telling me he was working late or traveling. The PI also discovered that Andrew had been quietly moving assets for over a year. He had opened a separate LLC. He had transferred stocks and bonds into that company. He was preparing for something. A divorce. He was planning to leave me. But he wanted to do it on his terms, with as little money going to me as possible. He thought I was stupid. He thought I was too busy being a mother and a hostess to notice. He had no idea that I had already been preparing my own escape for months. You see, long before I found the lockbox, I had started to see a financial advisor. In secret, I had opened my own bank account, one Andrew didn't know about. I had started putting away small amounts of cash. I had consulted a divorce attorney, the best in the city, and learned exactly what I was entitled to. But I hadn't pulled the trigger. Because I was scared. Scared of losing my daughters. Scared of being alone. Scared of starting over at 42. Andrew's secret changed all of that. Because now I had leverage. I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted justice. I wanted him to feel what I felt when I realized my marriage had been a transaction from day one. So I made a plan. I would not confront him. I would not let him know that I knew about Sophia. Instead, I would gather every piece of evidence, every transfer, every lie, every asset he had hidden, and then, when the time was right, I would hand it all to my lawyer and file for divorce on my terms, not his. But I needed one more thing. I needed proof that he was planning to leave me, not just having an affair, and I needed it soon. That's when I decided to use his own arrogance against him. One night, after the girls were asleep, I poured Andrew a glass of his favorite whiskey. I sat next to him on the couch. I looked him in the eyes, something I hadn't done in years, and I said, "Andrew, I've been thinking. We've been distant lately. I know I haven't been the best wife, but I want to try harder. I want us to be a real family again." He looked surprised, then relieved, then guilty. "Delilah, that means a lot. I've been feeling the same way. Work has been crazy, but I want to make things work too." He hugged me, held me longer than usual, and I felt nothing. But I smiled. I played the part. Over the next few weeks, I became the wife he always wanted. Attentive, affectionate, interested in his work. I asked about his business trips. I even offered to join him sometime. He said no, of course. Too boring. You'd hate it. But I noticed he started being more careful. He changed his phone password. He stopped leaving papers on his desk. He was suspicious. Good. Let him be suspicious. Let him think I was trying to save our marriage. Let him underestimate me. Meanwhile, the PI delivered the final piece of evidence. Andrew had met with a divorce lawyer, twice. He had asked about the best way to minimize spousal support. He had discussed a custody arrangement that would give him primary custody by painting me as an unfit mother. That was the moment I stopped playing nice. He wanted to take my children? After everything I had sacrificed? After 11 years of being a mother and a wife to a man I never loved? No. Now it was war. I called my lawyer the next morning. I gave him every document, every photo, every recording. I told him I wanted to file first. I wanted full custody. I wanted the house. I wanted half of everything, including the assets he had hidden, and I wanted to serve him the papers in a way he would never forget. On our anniversary. The day came, our 12th anniversary. Andrew had planned a dinner at an expensive restaurant. He even bought me a necklace, diamonds of course. He was trying so hard. Probably feeling guilty about Sophia, probably hoping I would stay blind forever. I wore the necklace. I smiled. I held his hand across the table, and then, right before dessert, I reached into my purse. "Andrew, I have a surprise for you." He grinned. "You shouldn't have." I pulled out a manila envelope. Thick. Heavy. "What's this?" he asked. "Divorce papers," I said, quietly, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. His smile disappeared. "What? I know about Sophia. I know about the condo. I know about the lawyer you've been seeing. And I know you've been hiding assets for over a year." He turned white. His mouth opened, then closed. "Delilah, I can explain. You don't have to. My lawyer already has everything. The bank statements, the property deeds, the photos from the private investigator, and a sworn affidavit from your own assistant, who you foolishly asked to book your trips to see her." He started to stand. I put my hand on his. "Sit down, Andrew. You're going to want to hear the rest." He sat. "I filed this morning. I'm asking for full custody of the girls, the house, half of all marital assets, and additional damages for financial infidelity. And because you've been hiding money, the judge is going to be very, very interested in your books. You can't do this. I already did." I took off the necklace he had given me and placed it on the table. Happy anniversary. I stood up, walked out of the restaurant, and never looked back. The divorce was brutal. Andrew tried to fight. He hired a high-powered lawyer. He tried to smear my name. He even tried to claim that I was the one having an affair, but he had no evidence, and I had mountains of his. The judge saw everything. The hidden accounts, the property in Sophia's name, the transfers from our joint funds, the documented plans to minimize my settlement. In the end, I got everything I asked for. The house, primary custody, 60% of the assets, plus legal fees. Andrew's reputation was destroyed. His business partners found out about the fraud. He lost contracts. He lost friends. Sophia, it turns out, was not interested in a man who had just lost half his fortune. She left him within months. He lives alone now, in a small apartment. He sees the girls every other weekend. They don't ask about him much. As for me, I didn't take the house. I sold it. I moved to a smaller place, one I chose myself. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. I reconnected with old friends. I even started dating. Not seriously, just rediscovering who I am without a role to play. I don't hate Andrew. I never loved him enough to hate him. I just feel pity. He had everything: a beautiful family, a woman who tried to love him, a chance at something real, but he chose lies instead. And lies have a way of turning into cages. Here's what I learned from all of this. Marriage without love is not a marriage. It's a contract. And contracts can be broken. But the real tragedy isn't leaving. The real tragedy is staying so long that you forget you deserve more. I stayed because I was afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of failing my children, afraid of starting over. But staying taught me something worse. It taught me that I was willing to trade my happiness for comfort, and that is a betrayal worse than any affair. So if you're watching this and you're in a marriage without love, ask yourself, what are you really staying for? The house? The money? The fear? Because one day you'll wake up and realize that the person lying next to you is a stranger, and you'll wonder how many years you wasted pretending. I wasted 11, but I'm not wasting another day. I don't love my husband, and now he knows. But more importantly, I know. I know my worth. I know my strength. And I know that the best revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's finally choosing yourself.